listen, even though a resale may already be profitable and may be making a lot of money, you can still screw it up. Everyone thinks. It's so interesting to start to learn about people who are interested in buying existing businesses. You think that's going to save you. You think that's like hitting the easy button. I'm just going to buy an existing business. Guys, business is hard no matter what. And a lot of the times it can be even harder stepping into an existing business that already has a crew, that already has a team, that's already going full steam, especially if you've never operated and owned either a business or managed and led a team. I mean, my recommendation is don't do it by yourself. And the other part is, if at first you don't succeed, like that song says, dust yourself off and try again. When you start doing validation calls, like I'd want to know, and obviously with the franchisor, like, hey, what's the difference between the 150 grand startup cost and 500 grand? Like, what would be, and a lot of the times it's going to be the difference of. Welcome to our Franchise Empire newsletter, where we highlight one franchise of the week as well as one franchise resale that is listed for sale somewhere in the United States. If you want to get these franchises in your inbox every single week to read at your convenience, you can go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter to subscribe for free. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Franchise Empire Show. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, and building your empire doesn't happen overnight. My name is Tarek Johnson, and owning franchises is what helped me go from employee to employer and start building my empire for my family. So this podcast is for you, the empire builders. For those of you who want to build something that stands the test of time. This is for those of you who are crazy enough to believe that you can make the dream in your head come to life. This podcast is all about bringing you real people who are building real empires so you can get inside their mind and heart and get proven strategies and actionable insights that will catapult you to build, grow, and scale your empire. Today, we are going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about, number one, an exciting resale in Florida. And we're going to also talk about our franchise of the week, which is an interesting franchise that has with about average sales of $7.4 million. Now, that is for mature franchisees. They define mature franchisees as franchisees open 12 months or longer. And we'll dive more into the numbers, into the median, into the average, into the highest performer. It's the numbers are actually really interesting. We'll talk about a franchisee who failed. This is kind of a crazy story, and then wind up buying a different franchise, and how that played out. What happened there? He actually was a client of ours, not when he failed. And then we'll talk about the latest episode of the Franchise Empire Show, which is talking about a lower cost franchise. So let's just dive in. Today is, we're going to start breezing through these newsletters as best as we can. By the way, if you are not getting the newsletters via email Sunday morning in your inbox, go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter. You can see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And every Sunday morning at 8 a.m., we will send you this whole shebang in your email, and then you can read it at your leisure and have it. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is the featured resale. So this is a resale with a company called Caring Transitions. So this is pretty interesting, actually. So this company, what they do is they actually they help seniors relocate and downsize. And so essentially they're like a hybrid moving company, and then we'll do an estate sale for the rest of their belongings that they don't want to take with them. Pretty interesting. Caring Transitions is one of the largest senior relocation companies. They started franchising back in 2006, and they have 352 units throughout the U.S. So units does not mean franchisees, in case you aren't familiar with that term. It could mean, maybe, like, as an example, the easiest way to do it would say, if the number was 350 units evenly, and let's say they had 175 franchisees that own two territories, like two geographic areas, that's called a unit. So they could have 352 units, but 175 franchisees, right? If that makes sense. And some franchisees will own one, some might own two, some might own three. So this is in the Palm Coast area of Florida. So all of our Florida people, I know we have a lot of people that watch from Florida. And Florida is just a business friendly state overall. So definitely reach out to us. By the way, as you're watching this, let's see, how do I get it to scroll at the bottom for the resale thing? I don't think we have a ticker for that. But if at any time this interests you and you want to learn more and get connected to the franchise and the owner for this specific resale, then go to franchiseempire.com/resales, enter your info, and make sure to let us know the resale that you want to inquire about. Or if you just want to check out what resales are available, if any, in your area, then you can go ahead and fill that out. All right. So the asking price for this business is $700,000. There are, kind of as I was saying before, there are 3 territories included, 4 vehicles that are included. Don't have the specifics to those vehicles here. There is a separate moving company that is a sister company that is included in the sales price. And there's an established team. You got 2 salespeople. You got 7 transition specialists that are combo of full-time and part-time. So very interesting. And the owner's retiring. These are, in my opinion, some of the best opportunities to come in and buy an existing business is when the owner is retiring. So our take on this. All right, so Caring Transitions, full service company, helping families in needs. Again, we explain what they do. They help seniors downsize into a smaller apartment, assisted living. They box up their stuff. They physically move them to the new location, unpack it, and they help set up the new area, the new home for seniors, and then they'll do an estate sale for anything else that is there, which is quite interesting. Obviously, you can see everyone always on these resales. They're like, what's the net income, guys? You have to sign an NDA. You have to sign an NDA. Like, I wanted you to just imagine for a second. You own a business. You're selling it. You're going to just advertise to everyone what your net income is and what your profit is? No. Like, I know everyone just wants to know net income. Like, listen, even though a resale may already be profitable and may be making a lot of money, you can still screw it up. Everyone thinks it's so interesting to start to learn about people who are interested in buying existing businesses. You think that's going to save you. You think that's like hitting the easy button. I'm just going to buy an existing business. Guys, business is hard no matter what. And a lot of the times it can be even harder stepping into an existing business that already has a crew, that already has a team, that's already going full steam, especially if you've never operated and owned either a business or managed and led a team. So our team have looked into a few hundred franchises and put together a list of 5 low-cost franchises that all make $1 million or more and that have a proven track record of both happy and profitable franchisees. So if you have a net worth of at least $150,000 and you want to see if the territory that you want is still available for any of these franchises, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. All right, let's get back to the episode. All right. So anyways, that's my rant. But if you want to see financials, profit and loss statements, etc., then go to franchiseempire.com/resales. We will connect you with the seller. According to the most recent FDD, franchise disclosure document for this particular brand, the top 25% of franchise owners had average sales of basically $669,000. All right. So, yeah, again, we already said if you want to inquire about that, go to franchiseempire.com/resales. Okay. Before we talk about the franchise of the week, let's talk about this client case study. So, this was really interesting. I actually just met with this guy. We actually just launched. We're pre-launching a mastermind for franchise owners. We used to have one. During the pre-launch, the only people that can join are franchisees that have become franchisees through working with us in our program. And at some point, we might launch it to the public. But so this gentleman just joined our mastermind, and so he's getting ready to open up his franchise in the next 3 to 6 months. He's one of our rare clients actually that actually bought a franchise with a retail location in the wellness space. And I probably only 10% of our clients have maybe even less, 5-10% have bought retail. Most of our clients we help buy a service-based business. But so here's what happened. Here's the crazy story. So during COVID, he bought a food franchise on his own, right? Not with our company or team. He went out, found this franchise, didn't know what he didn't know, got all excited about bringing this new concept to where he was, and paid the franchise fee, and then realized the franchisor was horrible. Obviously COVID was happening during that time too, but he said there was no support. Franchisor didn't know what they were doing. It was an SHIT show behind the scenes, and he lost out on his $45,000 franchise fee. Like that was it. The franchisor let him go, like meaning they let him out of the agreement. About 45 grand gone. And so in 2023, he was like, "Hey, I still have my goal to, open up this business." He had a consulting business on the side, really, wants to become a successful entrepreneur. And he said, "You know what? I want to do this the right way this time." And he reached out to us. He wound up joining our zero to profitable franchise system, which is different than the traditional franchise broker model, although it includes working with a franchise broker. And we helped him buy a franchise, and so he is ecstatic about the support that he's been getting so far from the franchisor. He said the training is incredibly thorough. They're helping him currently actually choose between two different locations right now. So he's getting ready to sign his lease. And as I said, he joined our mastermind system. So it just goes, I really wanted to share this because it goes to show a couple things. Number one, by doing it by yourself can create some massive issues. I see it all the time. People reach out to us and they're just looking at brands that are, quite frankly, terrible brands. How do I define a terrible brand? Well, number one, maybe it's a brand that the franchisees are not performing well and people don't realize it or know it, or just the financials of the business, the average sales of franchise owners are crap, meaning like no one's making money. Or people wind up like choosing brands that they're really excited about that have no proven track record, right? And the franchisor is not running just a successful system overall. And so, yeah, I mean, my recommendation is don't do it by yourself. And the other part is if at first you don't succeed, like that song says, dust yourself off and try again. And the fact that, he signed the franchise agreement, like hit the eject button, didn't get any of his franchise feedback, and then said, "You know what? I want to learn from my mistake and I still want to go ahead and do this and do it the right way." I love it. He has a super powerful mindset. I mean, when him and I had our meeting, just to hear how he thinks about things, it's super powerful. And so, yeah, hopefully you get some value out of that little snippet. All right, on to our franchise of the week. Um, this is a franchise called Closets by Design. We've covered a closet franchise before that is also very strong in their financials. But this particular company, founded in 1982, started offering franchises in 1998. They have 6 corporate territories, 76 franchise units, so not a huge system. And their franchise fee is $20,000 plus a territory fee of $18,000 or more, depending upon the size. There are some franchise brands that do this. It's an interesting kind of way to do it. I think Budget Blinds is another franchise that does this, where they have a smaller territory, they have a smaller franchise fee, and they have a larger territory fee. It's just a different way of structuring it, and allows people a little bit more flexibility to get bigger markets. So pretty interesting. Their royalty is 7.25%, and their national marketing fee is 2.25%. Investment range is pretty wide, 154 to 500 grand. So like as an example, you know, you doing due diligence, right, on a franchise like this, when you start doing validation calls, like I'd want to know, and obviously with the franchisor, like, hey, what's the difference between the 150 grand startup cost and 500 grand? Like, what would be? And a lot of the times, it's going to be the difference of a warehouse, the build out, equipment in this particular business. But that would be probably, I'm guessing something that you're wondering too, like how can someone get open for 150 grand and someone else gets open for 500 grand in this type of business, right? But if it isn't obvious, Closet by Designs is a leader of custom closets and home organization systems. So, as an example, in our house, like all of our drawers or pantry drawers in the kitchen and the cabinets, they all have like these sliding pullouts. Like our pantry has a nice organization system. We bought our house like that. The previous owner had all that stuff installed. But that's the sort of stuff, right? We have a custom built closet, not like the normal wire racks. It's got like all the shelving and all that cool stuff. So this is the type of stuff that this uh, company does: walk-in closets, pantry systems, and think about it. You can really do residential, commercial. There's all sorts of different applications for this. Actually, my wife, um, a couple of years ago, had a company come and build something like that with a company like this. Actually, I think we used California Closets, which is a competitor in this space, and they built like an entertainment system, like where a TV was just hanging on the wall, and they built this custom setup. It actually looks incredible. Um, I'm cheap by nature, or pretty frugal, and so when my wife was saying that she wanted to spend $3,500 to do it, and my wife's her own successful entrepreneur, herself, I was just like, whatever. I think that's a waste of money personally. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, it actually looks incredible. It looks really nice. So definitely worth the money. Hey, so if you want to figure out if you should buy a franchise and learn the fastest and easiest way to figuring out the best franchise to buy and everything you need to know about the process, then you'll want to go get access to our Franchise Buyers Academy. In our Franchise Buyers Academy, you'll get a behind the scenes look into specific franchises and exactly how much money they are making. You'll get simple formulas for finding money-making franchises and a blueprint on how to scale them into a franchise empire that can be sold for a lot of money later on. You'll be able to finally answer the question on, should I buy a franchise? Now you can get access at franchiseempire.com/FBA. Now let's get back to the episode. Okay, let's talk numbers. Let's talk some numbers, y'all. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. So I was looking through the FDD. They list a lot of different numbers. This is just a snapshot, right? Oh, and by the way, I forgot to have this little thing running at the bottom. If you're interested to find out if this specific franchise is available in your market, go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. We can check, see if it's available for you, introduce you to the franchisor. Or if you just want to see, hey, what are some franchises that may be available in my market? If you know what they are, go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. Real quick, if you're looking for more holistic help, like if you don't know what franchise it is that you want, my recommendation, best way to go about this is go to franchiseempire.com, click on this blue button that says schedule a free call. You fill out your information, you'll be able to schedule a meeting with our team. That's a more thorough meeting, right? The check territory, this is really designed more so for people that may already know, they may have seen some of the franchises that we cover and are interested to see, like, hey, I like that franchise. I see that they got strong average numbers. I kind of want to expedite the process and see if it's available in my area and kind of get introduced. That's what that's really designed for. Okay. So average annual sales, 7.4 million. Again, this is for mature franchise territories. And I actually went in the FDD to look at how did they define mature franchise territories, because we're not just about showing the big numbers, people. We want to show the holistic picture as well. Although we don't show in this screenshot the lowest sales in this particular one. But mature franchise territories are ones that had been open 12 months or longer as of December 31st, 2023, when they completed their FDD. So median sales, number in the middle, 4.7 million for median. And then you can see here, the highest annual sales in that mature category, $35 million in annual sales, which is absolutely absurd. And the lowest annual sales of those mature franchisees, 1.1 million. Okay. And only 28% exceeded the average. That's why the median is the most accurate number, right? Because it's the number in the middle. It's the very middle performing number. Whereas the average is being skewed probably by that $35 million number because it's so huge. What's interesting is they also show average closing ratio, right? Which is an important number that you need to know when you're in a service business that's highly dependent upon sales. Closing ratio meaning, okay, if we do 10 estimates, how many do we close and sell? We would, in that case, we'd close 4.9. Let's call it 5. And they list the average sale and median sale. What's interesting is that the average and median sale, meaning the average price of a sale, is just about the same. So very, very fascinating, right? And so, like, as an example, this makes it easy to do some numbers. You can't see this on your end, but if someone's doing 4.7 million as the average, that means they're doing basically 800 jobs, 816 divided by 12. So they're doing 68 jobs in a month on average, if that's the median. All right, let's talk about the brand overall. So they have a strong brand reputation. They've been in business for 40 years, right? 35 states, so big deal. Obviously big revenues as you saw. I think that speaks for itself. Stable. So here's an interesting point. During 2008, 2012, the recession period, they were able to retain every franchisee for those 4 years. No one closed their doors or terminated their agreement, which is pretty cool. So they've stood the test of time. Full control. So your location will design, sell, manufacture, install all of your projects, giving you control over each step of the process. No experience is necessary, as manufacturing and installation are both pretty simple and quick. And that's the whole point of a franchise system, right? You don't need to have had experience in that specific area. The franchisor is going to teach you how to do that, right? And then corporate helps with advertising. So since they've been around for so long and entered many new markets, they know how to advertise from day one to get you leads. And, with an average closing ratio of 50%, it's really just a matter of spending money on advertising to be successful, which is incredibly true. In these sort of businesses, the more you put in, the more dollars you put in advertising, the more you get out, right? Makes sense. Just becomes a math equation at that point. So once you know how many leads you get, how many leads you convert into appointments, what that ratio is, how many appointments close, what that ratio is, your average ticket, how much you can spend to acquire a customer, and then you just feed the marketing funnel. Obviously, easier said than done. You got to have the right team, the infrastructure, you got to be a strong leader. But yeah, pretty cool. And by the way, those are some of the things that we coach our franchisees on in terms of knowing their numbers, their scorecard, and being accountable to it, right? The franchisor, their job is to give you the systems, not to hold your hand to make sure you're hitting your numbers. So there is an important level of accountability that is needed. All right, y'all, let's keep it going. So here's something that we've done now. We realize some of you are just new to following us. We've been doing this newsletter for almost a year now. And we've realized that a lot of you haven't seen a lot of the newsletters that we've done. And so what we're doing is we are going and kind of starting at some of the earlier newsletters and converting them into podcast episodes for you guys. And that's on the Franchise Empire Show channel. So episode number 70 is us going over low-cost franchise.
that does $592,000 in sales. And yeah, similar format to this and how we do this here. So, go ahead and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Again, the Franchise Empire YouTube channel is a different one. So go into YouTube, type in Franchise Empire, and go subscribe to that channel. It's just called Franchise Empire now. So that's it, and that's all. You can watch it on YouTube, or you can listen on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to. And thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Take care. Hey, before we go, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. And the biggest thank you that you could ever give me is to share this episode with someone who you think will benefit. That means that we can share this message with more people and hopefully positively inspire them like we have you. So thank you. And until next time, go build your empire.